Hello and welcome to today's book chat. So today I'm going to be talking about the book Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. And so just as a little warning, I will be giving a spoiler. However, I will give you time and I'll kind of have that at the end of my main review. So if you don't want to hear the spoiler, I'll pause and just tell you, okay, turn it off now. So don't worry about that. So, I have never read a book by Jojo Moyes before, but I had listened to one several years ago, and I can't remember what it was called. I can't really remember the story. I was a little bored of it. And so, because of that, I didn't pick up another one for quite a while. But when I heard that Me Before You was going to have a movie made after it, I thought, well, if there's a movie being made off of it, enough people must have liked it that I should probably give it a try. So, Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. All right, so this book was an interesting experience for me. I picked it up just because I knew about the movie. I avoided any trailers, so I didn't know much at all about what it was about before I started. And the main character, she bothered me. I thought she was really well characterized. I thought the author did a great job. But the character herself, she was really boring. And she didn't take any time to actually examine her life at all, to think about her future, what she wanted, her dreams. It seemed like she just existed. She let every day go by and did nothing about that. Did nothing about trying to change her future in any way. And so as I was reading, really the only interesting thing about her was her clothing. Um, Yet, I couldn't stop reading. As you can see, it's a decently thick book. Let's see here. The version I have is over 400 pages. And I just rushed through it. I couldn't stop putting the pages down. It was hard to get back to work when I was taking a break. I stayed up really too late a couple of nights. And the first 3 or 4 hours into the book, I stopped and I commented to my husband that nothing really that interesting was happening. The character wasn't that interesting. And yet, I just couldn't stop reading it. So I'm not sure exactly what that was or why, beyond the fact that I figured, okay, I expected that the book was going to be predictable. I expected that something had to change in the characters. Something had to happen to make her worthwhile. And maybe that's part of why I read, or maybe it's just really great writing on Jojo Moyes' part. Anyways, so the story is about a young woman named Louisa who loses her job and has a bunch of trouble finding another one and ends up working as a personal care assistant for a young man named William Trainer who had an accident and became a quadriplegic. So he basically has no ability to move beyond his, from about here up, and then a little movement in one of his hands. And his life is completely dependent on other people. He lives in near constant pain, and Louisa goes to work with him and to help him. So I don't want to give too much away of the story at this point. Save it to say that it wasn't as predictable as I thought, and I definitely enjoyed the book. I thought it was interesting. I thought that, it surprised me in a couple of ways, and I would say that it made me think. It definitely made me think and made me assess a situation, a moral, potentially, situation that I hadn't taken much time to think about, and showed it in a way that I could respect. Okay, so here is where, if you don't want spoilers, you stop the video. Ready? Stopped? Okay, so if you're still watching, that means that you don't mind the spoiler. So the reason why I felt I needed that this time is because there has been a lot of media coverage about the movie and a lot of people being very upset about the ending of this book. So the spoiler is that Will Trainer, the main character, kills himself, or rather goes to Dignitas and participates in legally assisted suicide. And a lot of people were saying that, based on the movie, I don't know if they're judging this on the book as well, that the movie basically demeaned the potential for someone who's disabled to live a healthy, full, fulfilling life. and that it glorified or romanticized suicide. And I would say that the book did not do that at all. Throughout it, Louisa and the other people around Will really worked to try to convince him to live. It showed Louisa speaking with people who were disabled by various means, some quadriplegics as well, and they were encouraging her to find ways to encourage Will to live. Well, some of them were also reminding her that he's had all the choices stripped away from him, and she should perhaps respect the fact if this is a choice that he wants to make. He wasn't in a overly poor mental state. He wasn't suffering depression. Now, people could argue if you want to take your life, you're always going to be suffering depression, but that's another issue. Either way, it wasn't a whim. It was something that he had wanted to do for a really long time. And so, although I personally don't know that I agree with that, I did respect the way that the author wrote about it. I didn't think that she demeaned the life of any disabled person. And if anything, I think the opposite was true, in that she showed ways in which people could still live a really rich and fulfilling life, and showed ways in which making that choice hurt so many of the people around him. So anyways, I won't get into more than that, but I just wanted to have the little spoiler because if somebody has very strong issues about this, I wouldn't want them to be angry that I recommended a book that they see as morally wrong. I personally think that a story is a story, and if the story makes you think, if a story entertains you, then it's doing your job. And any ideas that are put forth in a book are not necessarily the idea of the author. And I think part of this that was really shown well is that pretty much all of the other characters did not agree with Will's decision to end his life. Yeah, so I would say that the movie maybe leaned a little bit more toward romanticizing it, but I still don't think it necessarily did. And of course, a book is different. A book is a book. I thought it was a good read, an entertaining read, and dealt with some issues that really made me think. So, Me Before You, whoop, by Jojo Moyes. If you'd like to find some links to that, hear a little bit more what I had to say, you can head over to my website, charlenecarr.com. Over there, you can also get the first 2 books of my women's fiction series for free by signing up for my mailing list. And yes, I would love to hear from you. Have a great day.